Coming up next on Tech News Today, Samsung unveiled the Galaxy Note 7, and it's pretty awesome. The White House works with Alphabet on testing delivery drones. Hololens can be yours if you happen to have $3,000 extra. A Defcon competition will showcase software that discovers and protects itself from vulnerabilities. And who needs a tattoo to tell that they're drunk when you have the room spins? All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1568, recorded Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Trunk Club. Get clothes that fit and look amazing without ever stepping into a store again. Trunk Club will help you create the wardrobe you've always dreamed of with your own personal stylist. Go to trunkclub.com/TNT and join Trunk Club today.
And by Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that pairs with your smartphone and keeps you from losing your most valued possessions. Visit thetracker.com right now and enter promo code TNT for 30% off your entire order. Welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about everything that happened in technology today that we think is important enough to tell you. I'm Megan Morrone.
I'm Jason Howell. It's basically all the stories that we want to spend the next 40 or so odd minutes talking about. Mm-hmm. I hope that you enjoy listening to them. That's the promise that we make, is that you will enjoy it.
I don't make any promises like that at all.
That's probably the safe way to go. I should follow your lead. Samsung held its Unpacked event this morning, where it showed off a device that, well, basically we already knew pretty much everything about it thanks to a bunch of leaks prior. The Galaxy Note 7. Samsung skipped the Note 6 this time, at least with the naming convention, so it can line it up with the next version sequential, or so that it can take it out of line with the next version that would have been sequentially. That would have been the 6. I hope that's not confusing. Probably made it more confusing than it actually is. The Note 7 has a large 5.7-inch display with curved edges on both sides. It brings back the micro SD card slot due to popular demand. Lots of people really wanted that in the last device. The top-of-the-line camera from the S7 is brought over to the Note 7, and it bests the Note 5 in battery at 3,500 milliamp hours compared to 3,000 milliamp hours. And it has a new security feature, the iris scanner, built in.
Unlock it with your eyes?
And supposedly it works incredibly well. We kind of heard about the iris scanner in advance, and I had my mocking words all prepared. And then apparently it's like really, really good. So I really want to play around with it and see. Like, one review I read said they couldn't really take a picture of it because anytime they tried, it worked so fast that they couldn't snap the picture in time. And that sounds pretty good.
I want to unlock everything with my eyes. I mean, This is just the beginning.
I don't know. Is that a feature that you would find useful?
Sure.
Or, I mean, would you be down for that?
Because you just hold it up.
You're already looking at it.
Yeah, I love that idea. It's also supposed to be more secure. It has that Fort Knox or Knox. What's it called? Just Knox.
Knox. Yeah, Knox.
Knox. And Andy Anatko, I heard him talking about Knox, and he said his sources say this. Obama's team has not proven this, but that's why he uses an Android phone, because Knox is more secure. It's already, it's accepted by the Pentagon or whatever, more secure than an iPhone. So
right, yeah. Samsung's really positioned its devices, and definitely the Note kind of falls into this territory of targeting this particular part of the brand to the enterprise, and a big requirement for you to do that, for anyone to, for any company to expect their devices to be adopted by, government and in the enterprise through and through, would be to focus on that improved security. Google's worked with Samsung to kind of implement some of the Knox features into Android in the past. So Samsung's got a really thing going with their security features underneath. They also have something called Secure Folder, which kind of works hand in hand with that Knox security. So basically anything that you have residing in that folder, requires, let's say, an iris scan in order to to connect to in order to see. So even if you happen to be looking at it and you don't have that access, you don't even really know it's there, from what I understand.
Well, Digmax from the chat room is correcting me. He said Andy said that it's verified by the Pentagon, not necessarily more secure, but verified, whereas the iPhone security has yet to be verified.
Oh,
so no one's
okay,
proven that one is more secure than the other.
That's interesting.
But,
yeah, I mean, we were talking yesterday about fingerprints and how you can get into devices with fingerprints. It's not a perfect solution. Iris scanning, based on what they're doing here, sounds like a pretty awesome way to go. It's not as easy to 3D print all of the intricate detail of the eye, of the iris specifically. That's the kind of the color stuff around the black in the middle. So all of that detail is used through the scanner, and I just really want to see it in action. But
it also has a headphone jack, this phone.
That's true. A feature that you might not find in other devices going forward. Motorola already has a device out. Their latest crop of devices, they require a dongle in order to plug in a regular headphone. So I don't know. That's a future that I just can't get behind.
I can't either. Well, in the boldest imitation is the sincerest form of flattery move we've seen in a while, Instagram today announced Instagram Stories, which is a complete clone of Snapchat Stories, right down to the fact that you can decorate your photos with text and stickers, and images disappear after 24 hours. I got the upgrade. I've been creating my story all over the place up until the show started.
You've been storifying like crazy.
I have. You can't see it online, unfortunately. You have to go into the app. But it is exactly like Snapchat Stories. And they even said, like, the Instagram CEO was like, yes, this was a great idea, so we're taking it. This, of course, isn't the first time. Facebook didn't used to have, like, the status update. They totally took that from Twitter. Like, that was a Twitter thing that they were like, oh, yeah, that works, so let's do that. So it's pretty easy to use. It just shows up on the top, and you press add to my story, and you take pictures. And I think the kids these days are going to love it.
We'll see. That remains to be seen. Just because it exists, I don't know if it's going to pull anybody over who's using Snapchat already or whatever. But yeah, you mentioned the CEO, Kevin Systrom. He actually told TechCrunch, like, Snapchat deserves all the credit. They said, this is about a format and how you take it to a network and put your own spin on it. So basically, flat out admitting, like, Snapchat has a thing. It's a it's a thing specific to what makes Snapchat appealing, and we're doing it too now. And at least he's transparent about it. At least they're being transparent about it. Like you said, Facebook has rolled out a lot of features that are very, very similar to other, flavors of the day. Time hop, and then Facebook had on this day. Poke and Slingshot were direct attempts to try and replicate some of what Snapchat was doing. So Facebook kind of has a thing for Snapchat. Facebook also really wanted to buy Snapchat at one point for, I think it was like $3 billion, which sounds hilarious nowadays because $3 billion, strangely, is such a low number. But at the time, I remember everybody being like, you guys are crazy. Why did you not take this deal? They got the final laugh.
Yeah, I think that you say, will people switch from Snapchat to Instagram? I think people really were switching from Instagram to Snapchat, but it's not like people got rid of their Instagram accounts. Yeah. And I just think they're paying attention to the way people use it, especially the next generation. I have a 13-year-old. This is what they do. Like, they like Snapchat. They use Instagram, but they don't, like, hoard all their pictures there. Like, all the teenage girls and boys that I know, like, they delete them. So they don't like to have all their pictures in there because they're changing so fast. Their lives are changing so fast. They don't want to have that, like, even a year ago, a picture they had with a friend they're not friends with anymore. They don't look like that anymore. So I think that this is really the way kids use social. It's like life casting. It's like, I'm going to take a picture of my shoe. I'm going to take a picture of where I'm shopping. I'm going to take a picture of my Starbucks, and that's my story, as opposed to just this, like, record of their life, which is more of our generation type
I hadn't
thing.
really thought of it that way, but I think you pretty much nailed it. That's right on. Kind of, this is who I am right now, as opposed to the need to, like, catalog everything that's happening in your life. The blurring of social network lines continues. So, they're all borrowing from each other and becoming the same in their own separate ways. Makes me wonder when Facebook or Instagram is going to integrate Masquerade, which Facebook acquired, I don't know how many months ago, but that's basically, very similar to Snapchat's face filters. And so they own Masquerade now. When is that going to end up in here? Because you have to imagine it's going to. I mean, come on. It's all like happening that way.
I think it already is. I feel like they did already
Did they bring those filters in?
Yeah, maybe you were on vacation. I can't now we'll have to look up that. But I think they already did put it in. I think
I knew it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I think you already can do it.
But, well, there you go. See? The White House announced that it is working with Alphabet's X division to test Project Wing, which will test delivery drones in the U.S. at one of 6 FAA-approved test sites. This will be the most significant trial in the U.S. so far. Package delivery is not possible under current FAA rules, and companies like Google and Amazon are, of course, testing these kinds of deliveries overseas where governments are a bit warmer to the idea. So I think the U.S. is in realizes that, we kind of have to kickstart this over here as well. Amazon, we talked about this not too long ago, is testing drone deliveries in the UK, hoping to kind of have some sort of a rollout of this technology in 2017. Google in the past has also targeted 2017 as a year that it wants to do these unmanned delivery drone things. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, this is part of that $35 million National Science Foundation grant that we talked about a few months ago. I mean, drones, they say that commercial drone industry has projected $82 billion added to the U.S. economy by 2025. The drone industry could support up to 100,000 new jobs. So, this is important. It's not just like, get that drone out of my backyard. It's going to be part of our economy, I think.
Although, get that drone out of my backyard. Seriously. Get it out there. Get it out of there because it doesn't belong there. I don't know who you think you are.
But do you think that the FAA is more acceptable to these drones because they look more like planes? They don't look all robotic. They kind of have the shape of a plane. They're faster than faster than drones. And
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it's the look of the drones that's making them that's warming them up. Honestly, in my mind, I just kind of assumed it was the fact that all this stuff was going somewhere else. And it's like, well, if this is an impending part of the future and other places like, the UK overseas are open and willing to allow these tests to happen, then we also need to at least warm to the thought that this is going to happen. I mean, technology is just changing in so many different ways and so many different facets. This is just yet another element to that. FAA does have requirements right now for these little radio transponders that basically signal the location of the craft to other aircraft and to the ground so that they can track and know that it's okay to do this. But right now, as we've talked in the past, their requirements also look for line of sight for the drones. So you can't have these unmanned crafts, for miles and miles and miles, which is kind of what Amazon and Google want, and also prohibits flying over people. So they have a lot of work to do.
So they won't be in your backyard then?
Thankfully, they won't be in my backyard unless I ordered something and I'm waiting for the delivery. Then it's okay. Then at least I expect it. Otherwise, no.
Well, anyone can buy HoloLens now as long as you have $3,000 burning a hole in your pocket. And I mean, who doesn't these days?
Seriously.
This is the developer's kit. And ever since its release 4 months ago, developers had to apply to get their hands on the very first gen augmented reality headset from Microsoft. Now developers and businesses can buy up to 5 units of the device at hololens.com, so go right there to buy yours. As a bonus, the new HoloLens is equipped with the Windows 10 anniversary update that just started rolling out. So it's unclear if you have to be part of the Windows Insider program, and you do have to. It can only be shipped to the U.S. and Canada, and no refunds.
Oh, it'd be nice when you can walk into like a retail store and play, test this out because I don't know, $3,000. It's a lot of money. Just for a little faith. Microsoft retail stores have no inventory right now, so if that is your plan, you're out of luck. Microsoft also launched the HoloLens commercial suite today, which kind of has them. So this is, it's targeted at developers, but this also kind of paints it in the enterprise sense. Enterprise features like kiosk mode, which locks it to a particular app. There's identity and device management tools, BitLocker for data encryption, that sort of stuff. And then, of course, the hardware along with it. So, I mean, Microsoft's good at enterprise, so it makes sense that they would start off like this. Just makes you wonder, what the next phase is. And I can't help but compare it in some ways to what we went through with Google Glass. I realize it's different, but some parts of it feel the same.
Well, they
in how
really,
it's being approached.
I mean, but they really are controlling, who can buy these.
Yeah.
You had to, you had to apply, and now you have to be a business or a developer. Like, they're really not just. I mean, that was the big mistake of Google Glass, right? Like, oh, this is for everyone, and then everyone. I know that Google Glass had like the Explorers program at the same time, but I mean, I think they're being very clear about like.
They had an invite system. It was kind of cryptic.
It was
though.
the same. So.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit different, I suppose. It was by invite, at least with Google Glass, and man, that was already a couple of years ago. I'm starting to forget exactly how that happened. But I went to Google I/O, and they had signups there for anyone that was at I/O. So basically, you proved that you were a developer and you had the money and you could do it. But yeah. I think Microsoft is. I do think that Microsoft is very interested in avoiding the pitfalls that Google Glass really kind of came down under, and of which there were a lot. So, those of you who thought the secure messaging service Telegram was, I don't know, secure, this might give you some pause. Iranian hackers have apparently accessed more than a dozen Telegram accounts. Telegram has right around 20 million users in Iran, and its high user numbers are tied to the belief that Telegram, as an encrypted messaging platform, was impervious to this type of access, and that's thanks to its implementation of end-to-end encryption. In fact, Telegram, I don't know, I kind of feel really helped to set the encryption trend that other messaging platforms have adopted in most recent months. Well, hackers gained access to accounts by intercepting SMS messages that acted as authorization codes when a new device attempts to log in. Researchers also found evidence that hackers were able to access a programming interface for Telegram that would have identified at least 15 million users' phone numbers and IDs, which would be the largest known breach of the encrypted system. This is not good news when your service is built around security and protection of your users.
No, and I mean, this is another thing of the two-factor. Using SMS as a two-factor is not necessarily as secure for particular people. These were activists, journalists, whistleblowers, and they were being targeted. And I think what's going on here, Reuters didn't say, but they assumed that it was like coordination with the cell phone companies.
Right.
So this is a place where the government and the cell phone providers work directly and hand over things that are asked for. Like the government is pushing them to say, yeah, like here, either they own the cell phone companies or they have enough political power to say, hand over that information. So like that means like those codes that are being sent. So these people were targeted. I don't think it, like for the average person, it makes Telegram any less secure. But, I don't know. You hear about Telegram, I think, in the mainstream media as the thing that the terrorists use. Like I hear that, there was, it was someone that was killed somewhere where it was just like, and they were using Telegram, So it is really, it's hard because it's getting that reputation of the thing that's used by terrorists, but at the same time, it might not be secure enough even for people, that are journalists that are trying to, solve all these problems. So.
Yeah, and Telegram does, remind people that their two-factor verification does exist, and had any of these that were, their accounts were accessed in this way, had any of them had the two-factor authentication, which in this case is essentially you create a password as well as a recovery email to work in tandem with your SMS message that you receive. If they had this, then their accounts would be safe. So I suppose if you're using Telegram, you should set up two-factor authentication. If it's offered, you might as well get on the two-factor bandwagon and not make the mistake that I did. There's a whole lot of hacking going on. This is, after all, Black Hat and Defcon week. We'll chat with The Verge's Russell Brandom about some of the hacking challenges at Defcon this week. But first, let's take a minute to thank Trunk Club. They're the sponsor of this episode. Yeah, it's full board summer at this point. It's time to spruce up your wardrobe with summer essentials, because you've been wearing those same shorts for like 3 weeks now, and it's time to just let it go. You can find short sleeve button downs, lightweight blazers, swimwear, shorts. Whether you're looking for beach formal attire or grown-up graphic tees, Trunk Club is a shopping game changer for men and for women. With Trunk Club, you'll never have to step foot inside a store for your clothing needs again. Plus, you get your very own personal stylist for free. You don't get that when you go into a store. This stylist works with you, specific to your needs. You just type in your measurements, share your style and your spending preferences to connect with the right Trunk Club stylist. And then he or she will contact you by phone, email, or messenger to really kind of get a better understanding of your look and learn more about what you're looking for, like your sizing challenges, all that kind of stuff. Your stylist will select items for your trunk from over 80 top brands, and will send a preview of clothes that may be a good fit. You'll get that online. You just review that trunk via email, and you can make edits before it's shipped right to your door. Once you get that, you're going to have 10 days to try on the clothes. And the best part is, if you like it, just keep what you like and then send the rest back. And you only pay for the things that you keep. Trunk Club is not a subscription service, but shipping is also always free in both directions. It's premium clothes, expert advice, no work, thanks to your very own personal stylist at Trunk Club. Trunk Club is backed by Nordstrom, which means they have the highest standards in quality and customer service. If you happen to live in Dallas, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or DC, you can stop by one of the Trunk Club clubhouses and you can work with your stylist in person for free. Nothing better than that. Make a statement at the next big event on your calendar with a look that's handpicked just for you and your style. Get started today at trunkclub.com/TNT. You'll look and feel your best with clothes that fit you perfectly. That's trunkclub.com/TNT, and we thank Trunk Club for their support.
Hackers beware, your jobs are not safe from the robots either. There's a hacking challenge at Defcon this week that's completely automated. Joining us to talk about it is Russell Brandom from The Verge. Welcome, Russell.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about this competition.
So yeah, it's one of DARPA's grand challenges. This was, in the 90s, how they kicked off self-driving cars. They had a self-driving car challenge where they said, drive this far with no one in the car, just a computer in the car, and we'll give you, $1 million. And so they've had a couple of them. They're generally successful in sort of kickstarting research into a thing that we thought wasn't possible. No one thought you could build a self-driving car, and now all the people that did that challenge are working for, Google or Uber or whoever. So this one is, can we make, the security world is sort of built around finding vulnerabilities in software. Is there some sort of string of characters we can give to Google Chrome that'll make it freak out and run any sort of string of software that we want? And so the question is, could we get a computer program to look for those vulnerabilities? And we've never really been able to do that. DARPA has put up some challenge money. The grand prize is $2 million. I believe there's $4 million of total prize money. And we've got 7 finalists, and they've actually put together this sort of a new kind of file binary. This is completely new software because they didn't want anyone to have a sort of head start, and coded a lot of software, and all of the programs are going to go look for vulnerabilities in it and write exploits and also patch their own software to keep it from being attacked by the other teams, and sort of whoever comes out ahead gets $2 million.
So what you're essentially saying is that they're creating software that's going to defend itself.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that not sound like the beginning of a sci-fi movie? That's everything.
Well, it sounds like the beginning, but I mean, the thing to remember about these challenges, we saw last year they had a big one of they wanted to build a robot that could walk around and open doors and things. And you saw the videos, if you're on the internet, last June, there was a bunch of robots sort of getting out of the car and immediately just falling over. And I think that's, yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Poor guy.
Well, and the thing is, the nature of the grand challenge is they say, okay, like, here's the day. You have this much time to do it. They don't wait until there's a finished product. And they also don't tell you everything that they're going to ask the robot to do. So all of a sudden they said, oh, well, this guy was great at walking on concrete, but he's terrible at walking on sand. And then he just keels over. I mean, that's, in their defense, that's what happens when you're trying to do something that you didn't think was possible. But it also means, I think we've got a little bit of time before all of our software works this way, right? We've got a good 20 years before this is how the security industry works.
It makes me wonder how long before robots are actually writing the code from the very beginning, before it ever gets to this bugging, debugging, hacking, dehacking stage.
Absolutely. And I mean, writing the code's the easy part. I think Google will tell you, it's easy to sort of write the first version of Chrome, but then you find out all the problems, you have to patch the problems, but you still want it to work the way it worked before. that's really the hard part. And so if we can have computers do some of that, even if they couldn't get all the bugs, they could just get the simple bugs, it would be a lot easier for sort of the software developers of the world.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is like software that can create its own exploits. So, I mean, at that point, we probably need that big red button that I think you've written about this too, like the way to stop it. Is that going to be part of this at all?
No, there's no big red button. They're just out in the wild. They're doing what they want. We're completely at their mercy.
Well, I mean, security research, it's not just writing code. It's not like they're not code monkeys. They're like, actually, there's a lot of creative thinking involved in it. Yeah. I mean, how does the AI deal with all of that?
Well, that's what we're sort of going to find out. I mean, one of the things one of the researchers told me was, if you want a self-driving car, you just put a camera on it and you tell it what a pothole looks like, and you say, okay, that when you see that's a pothole, don't drive over it. But finding a way that a computer program might break is a lot harder and sort of requires a lot more critical thinking and sort of creativity. And that's not something AI is very good at right now. We're pretty good at sort of recognizing images and recognizing patterns, but the idea of, okay, here's this, I made this video player. What are some bad ways someone might use it? I don't know. I mean, my guess is that we're not going to see anything. I think if they can do it at all, it will be really, really impressive, because right now, no one thinks this is even possible. That's sort of the level we're playing at.
So it's, just to be clear, they're not going to be actual robots. It's just going to be AI. But you can watch it.
It's all software.
Yeah, but you can watch, like they're live streaming this from the cybergrandchallenge.com. I mean, what would people be watching when
Thursday night? It's a lot of stressed out people in front of computers, and I think they have some visualization, but they also they gave them really great hardware to work this on, because the machine learning algorithms often take a lot of processor power. Any of these things, the code is rough enough that it hasn't really been optimized, so they have really cool, fancy sort of supercomputers to run this on, and you're just going to be seeing 7 teams of very stressed out engineers sort of looking over their shoulder at each other.
Like looking
exciting TV.
Yeah, who's taking my job? Exactly. But you kind of don't want it to work in some ways.
I'm sure that will happen plenty, it not working.
Yeah. So did you talk to some of the finalists?
Yeah, I mean, they've gone through these qualifying rounds where they sort of made sure that their software could, they gave them something to find bugs in, and they found bugs in it and they patched the bugs. So they know they can sort of do that. But the interesting thing is now some other team is going to be looking at the patch they deployed and say, oh, okay, can I fix this? Can I find another exploit in the new software that this program has written? And maybe, they found some software that works great under most conditions, but there's this one way that you can attack it. And it becomes almost like sports where, the one team is looking for the weaknesses of the other team. And, okay, how should we optimize our strategy to sort of get at their weaknesses? And so there's a really dynamic element that we're going to see on Thursday that we've kind of never seen before. And it's all going to be happening so fast because they're all running on these supercomputers, and there's no human intervention allowed. They just sort of set it and go, that it's going to be very, very unpredictable.
Well, you can watch that at the cybergrandchallenge.com on Thursday. And if you want to read more about this, you can read Russell's article. And you also wrote about the Telegram story that we talked about before. So if anyone wants some clarification on that, you can check that out at The Verge. And Russell is Russell Brandom on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Russell.
Take care.
All right, Bill wrote into TNT at twit.tv regarding our interview yesterday with Ian Carr from Quartz regarding the U.S. transition to chip cards. Bill says EMV cards are too little, too late, and too slow. The vulnerability is credit card numbers in the clear on magnetic stripes. There is no plan to eliminate them, even on chip cards. They are useful for backwards compatibility. In Europe, he says, most devices cannot read the magnetic stripe. For backward compatibility, they key the number. In restaurants, the server brings a mobile reader to your table, for example. As long as there are applications that will accept credit card numbers in the clear, Merchants, brands, issuers, and most users will continue to be vulnerable to fraud. Users can protect themselves by using mobile wallets from Apple, Google, and Samsung. These are both more convenient and more secure than cards, magnetic stripe, or chip. Think cardless, contactless, and credit card account numberless. So good pointers there. Yeah, just simply having the chip on the card still doesn't remove the magnetic stripe underneath, and that tends to be where a lot of that vulnerability is. I've also noticed that when it comes to credit cards, well, no, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this is not as much of an issue. When you put in the chip, it exposes your card number a lot of times because it's facing up, and I just kind of always felt like that's kind of an insecurity in and of itself. Is, you're always trying to like make sure that no one sees that 16-digit number, but yet when you insert the chip, like you're forced to do that at least for a second or two. So I don't know, maybe that's another way that's insecure. But
yeah, I'm ready for contactless mobile payments because I just forget stuff too.
I forget to use mobile payments because anytime that I do, it's never 100% of the time working perfectly for me. You know what I mean? And some places take it, some places don't. So I feel like in order to do that, what Bill is saying, and be completely safe by using mobile payments, let's say, or maybe not completely, but mostly, I just feel like it has to get a little bit better because, man, it's not a perfect situation for me when I try and use it.
Well, when you go iPhone for a week and I go Android, you can try out Apple Pay and see how wonderfully perfect it is.
I will.
Every way.
And hopefully for longer than 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, or a month,
all right,
or a year. Or 2 years. Or
sure.
No, just kidding.
You heard him say he wants to use the iPhone for 2 years. He said it. I didn't make him say it.
It's true.
Go home tattoo. You're drunk. Jason will explain what that means in a minute. But first, let's take a minute to thank Tracker, the sponsor of this episode. Like I just said, I lose my keys. I lose my wallet. Like I don't have my wallet at home. I leave my wallet at home. I don't have my credit card. That's why I like mobile payments. Sometimes I even lose my phone, so that doesn't work. Sometimes I can't find my shoes or my headphones. Sometimes I can't find my dog. But now I don't have to worry about any of that because Tracker helps me locate them. The coin-sized device locates misplaced keys, wallets, computers, even pets in seconds. The Tracker Bravo is constructed with beautiful anodized aluminum for the thinnest and most durable tracking. You can pair Tracker to your iOS or your Android device, attach it to anything via key loop or adhesive, and find its precise location with a tap of a button. It's that easy. You can also customize two-way separation alerts to receive notifications before you leave your item behind. Lose your phone? Press the button on Tracker, and your phone rings even when it's on silent. With over 1.5 million devices, Tracker has the largest crowd GPS network in the world, so your lost item shows up on a map even if it's miles away. And if an item goes missing, the Tracker app records its last known location on a map. Then when another Tracker user comes within a 100-foot range of your lost item, you'll receive a GPS update of where your item is located. Your phone can track up to 10 devices at once. Tracker is enabled by Bluetooth Low Energy, so the battery lasts up to a year. There are water-resistant cases that are also available for purchase. Those are perfect for your dog's collar. You can even add a laser engraved message to each Tracker Bravo, like return or the pet's information. And here's what's new at Tracker is their custom image printing. You can personalize your Tracker with a custom printed image. We have one that Tracker made with the Tech News Today logo. Leo even has one with his face on it.
Whoa.
So you could put Leo's face on your Tracker, and then you could see Leo whenever you lost your stuff, which would be fun. Tracker Atlas, which works with your Tracker Bravo or your third-party Bluetooth tracker that pinpoints your items on a customizable floor plan of your home. Save time, save energy by simply asking Tracker Atlas where your item is, and you will instantly get an answer. You don't even need to search. Go to tracker.com. Never lose your possessions again. Plus, just for our audience, if you enter promo code TNT, you'll get 30% off your entire order. That's THETRACKR.com, promo code TNT for 30% off your entire order. TNT's fan of the day is Tatura101 on Instagram, who sent us this picture saying, flying from Hong Kong to Los Angeles on Cathay Pacific on June 25th, flying over Japan at this point of the flight with almost 6,000 miles and 10 hours to go.
Whoa.
So a great time to catch up on your tech news today, I would say.
That was a little more than a month ago, so I'm assuming that you made it. I hope you had a good trip. And you're probably back at home just listening to us the way you normally do. Or maybe that is home. I don't know. But
the airplane?
No. Wherever. Hong Kong, I'm assuming.
Show us how you watch the show. Just record a video, take a picture, post it on Instagram. Put it on your Instagram story. You'll have to notify somehow within 24 hours because it'll disappear, but you'll figure it out. Let us know if it's on your story. We'll check out your story. Use Twitter, Facebook. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT. You can email me too, Megan@twit.tv. I will always accept emails if you don't want to put them on your social networks, but we like them on your social networks.
Yeah. Normally I would say because it's like a permanent home for them. But yeah, if it's a story, that's 24 hours. And if we get a bunch of those, we're going to have to like run all of them in a single episode because they're not going to last any longer.
Yeah. Do an Instagram story because, then that's a good idea. If you don't want it to if you don't want to be if you're like the teens these days and you don't want that to be part of your permanent record. Yeah. Let us know. We'll check out your Snapchat story.
Maybe we'll take a screenshot of it, or is that not allowed? We're not supposed to do that. Take a screenshot of the story. It's supposed to disappear after 24 hours.
That's the better thing about Instagram. With Snapchat, if you screenshot someone's Snapchat, they know about it. They're like, hey, this creeper was creeping on you. But I don't think Instagram does that. So
Yet. If the room spinning around you isn't enough of a clue to you that you might, in fact, be very, very drunk, then maybe this tattoo will help. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego, created a temporary stick-on tattoo with electronic sensors inside that administers a drug called pilocarpine to the wearer. That makes the skin underneath sweat a little bit. This gives the sensors what they need to measure ethanol content in the sweat. The results are beamed back to that poor sap's phone via Bluetooth and lets them know, yep, you're drunk. You're too drunk to drive, or whatever the case may be. You're drunk. You wanted to know. There you go. Could also, by the way, be applied to things like glucose levels, lactase level tracking, and stuff like that. If you don't, pick up one of Google's contact lenses that also tracks glucose content.
I was hoping you were going to say it could be applied to your children or your spouse to be notified.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really good point. All right, you're going out for the evening, huh? Well, let's put on this tattoo. Right. We don't want to take any chances. We want to know that you're doing what you tell us.
Parents will do that.
Oh, yeah.
I won't do that.
But the kids will probably just, it's a temporary tattoo. You could just tear it right off.
Peel it off, yeah.
It's just a stick-on tattoo. Who knows? Maybe this is leading to a world of permanent tattoos that do this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need that either.
I don't know if we need that. No.
That is it for this week. TNT records live every Monday through Friday. Not this week, this day, actually. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us at tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW. You can find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
You can find all the ways to subscribe to our show at twit.tv/TNT. Go there, find a way, subscribe another way. Subscribe in all the places.
Yeah.
Just so you have it wherever you are on any app that you use to get podcasts. And find me on Twitter. I'm at Megan Morrone.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director. That would be Kara Cole. Thanks to all the folks who help us produce the show every single day, including Greg over there, controlling the words. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.